We have here the 2022 Q5, the regular 4-cylinder model. I already did a review on the SQ5, so if you want to see that, I will leave a link to that in the description box below. Anyway, let's just get this thing out on the road here, see what it's all about. For this class of vehicle, this is doing a great job. I really like the 4-cylinder in this as well as the BMW X3. So this is the 45 model with the upgraded 2-liter 4-cylinder, which I will talk about a little bit later in the driving segment. But first of all, let's talk about the looks of this Q5, its appearance, how it competes, all that good stuff, where it ranks. All right, so I kind of configured one on the website. It was about $54,000. An equivalent model X3 came out to be around $50,000 with the X-Drive when I configured it. So there you go. This costs a little bit more than the competing X3, and I already said this multiple times, but I like the way the GLC looks, both from the outside and the inside. However, the interior solidity is nowhere near as good as the Audis and the BMWs. And also another thing, I think the Mercedes 4-cylinder is a little bit on the rattly side. I don't think it's quite as smooth as this Audi 4-cylinder or the BMW 4-cylinders. So it's really between this and the X3 for me if you're shopping in the European car segment. Now, personally, for around $54,000, you can also get things like the Lexus NX, the new redesigned one, in a hybrid trim level. So keep that in mind. If you want a hybrid with this, the 55 model, that's going to also start at around $56,000. So if you want to get that vehicle, I would get it as a base model hybrid to save as much money as possible. I wouldn't really load it up with a bunch of options, but the way I spec this one, it was a premium plus model, the way most people would get it. And the looks of this car, it's actually growing on me. I don't really hate the way the Q5 looks as much anymore. I think it's a pretty decent design at this point. This particular model has the 20-inch optional wheels. I would actually save the $800 and get the regular 19-inch wheels. I think that would suit this vehicle a little bit better. Not that this car rides bad or anything like that. I just don't think the 20-inch wheels look that amazing on this car. So I would just get the 19-inch wheels, skip the black optics package for $1,300, and yeah, 54 grand, Bang & Olufsen system, premium plus. That's really the way to go. Let's go ahead and let's transition over into this driving segment now. Yeah, this is going to be more than enough for most people. I think they've done a great job tuning this. It feels good on the low end, feels good on the high end, like if you're at the highway speeds. For a 4-cylinder, this will get up and move better than you would expect. Typically these turbo 4-cylinder models, they will die out on the top end. This does not, so I'm pretty pleased with that. But same thing goes for the X3 as well. The main difference between this and the X3 is this actually rides a little bit higher, which I actually think a lot of people would like, because when you look into an SUV product, you want that higher seating position, and this offers it, and the X3 doesn't really. It just kind of feels like a sedan in my opinion, a little bit more lower slung. That could be a pro or a con depending on who you are. Just so you know, this sits up a little bit higher. BMW probably also handles a little bit better. This is okay for what it is. For most of you, just going to Nordstrom and stopping by at the Starbucks drive-thru, I mean, both of these vehicles are really going to exceed your expectations. This is going to be more than enough for what you're going to be doing with it. Know that this is a quiet and comfortable vehicle. Not a whole lot of wind noise, not a whole lot of tire noise. Now, I will say, compared to the Audi A4 I tested just not too long ago, literally last week, that vehicle is a little bit quieter still, and even a little bit more comfortable as well, because that's a sedan. With these SUV products, they have to raise it up, and to maintain a decent handling characteristic, they have to stiffen up the suspension just a tad. Don't get me wrong. I mean, if you're just to look at this objectively alone, this is totally fine. You're going to be very happy with it. But when you drive things back to back, you notice the subtle differences. And I noticed the A4 handles a little bit better, is a little bit quicker. And that only had the 40 trim level engine in it. This is the 45, since this is the S line. And this thing produces 261 horsepower, 273 pounds-feet of torque. With the A4s and the A5s, there is literally no difference with the 40 trim level engine and the 45. They literally feel identical with me. I would still get the 45 trim anyway, just for the resale value purposes and for your own peace of mind, just so you know you have the quicker engine. It's kind of stupid in my opinion that Audi would even offer two 4-cylinders with two different tunings on it. is just very strange. Just give us the 45 trim level and be done with it. BMW doesn't screw around there. They just give you one 4-cylinder. So you get a lot of little benefits with the A4. The main thing that you're losing out on is the higher driving position. So you're making a few little compromises like that by going with the Q5 versus the A4, but don't get me wrong, this is Audi's #1 best-selling vehicle. Clearly, people value the higher driving position more than anything. So, hey, there you go. Brakes also do a good job in this vehicle. It's pretty progressive. Gets you to a halt just fine. I also recently did a test on the Volvo XC60. I find this to be a superior car for the most part because I just didn't like the way that Volvo XC60 jostled you about. It kind of moved the occupants about a little too much. This and the X3 doesn't do that, and it still maintains a decent handling characteristic. I do think that the X3 is a superior choice to this, but honestly, it just depends. I mean, at this point in the game, it really doesn't matter. You're just going to go with whatever brand you like the most anyway. So right now, does it even matter what I'm telling you here? I guess not. You're just going to piss away your money however you see fit. So, you know, you can go do whatever you want. I'm just giving my objective thoughts on the matters here. They're all going to be great cars. You're not really going to have any real complaints with any of them. Personally, I would go with something like an Acura RDX or the new Lexus NX, the redesigned model. That's what I would go with. You want a European vehicle on your driveway, and that's exactly what you dreamt of, and that's exactly what you're going to get. So I understand, that's fine. We all had foreign whip dreams in our in our life, right? So go ahead, get your foreign car, enjoy it. It's a fine vehicle, it's comfortable, it's not fatiguing. You can do long miles in this, and it's not going to be an issue. So have fun with it. Let's go ahead and let's quickly cover this interior segment now. Okay, let's quickly cover this interior space because I've done this multiple times now with the A4, the A5, the SQ5. I mean, the interior basically remains the same. It's the exact same layout, so definitely check out those videos. But just so you know, this is a solid interior space, one of the most solid interior spaces, a little bit more so than the BMW, so that's a pretty big highlight here. Nothing is creaking and rattling. Very ergonomic. I love the way they separated the climate control from the screen. Well done there. And you have your own physical buttons and knobs and switches for all of those climate control things. You have heated seats here. And like I mentioned, getting that Premium Plus is certainly the way to go. You have one-touch up and down windows for all 4 windows. It's not double pane glass, nor does it need to be. It's a very quiet vehicle as a whole. Only when you get out on the highway speeds do you notice some more wind buffeting, mainly because it sits up a little bit higher. But other than that, that's where the Audi A4 kind of shines. It's a little bit quieter on the highway settings. So just so you know there. Bang & Olufsen sound system, it's only $950. Might as well get that. It's a good sounding sound system, very clear, very crisp. You got your Apple CarPlays, your Android Autos, very clean looking screens here, both for the gauge cluster and the infotainment system. Great backup camera with the 360. You have that here as well. All the tech in here is easy the way you use it. There's no learning curve here. You just get in here and you can use it right away. No problems. You have a panoramic sunroof. Seats are super comfortable. Plenty of lumbar support, the correct amount at least. And again, the seats make sure that you have a non-fatiguing experience. Headroom is okay in the front seats. I will say in the rear, it's not super plentiful or anything, but neither is the GLC or the X3. But people do say that the Q5 is a little bit smaller in its class, and that's kind of true. But it's still comfortable back there. You can still fit adults. It's not a big deal. I can sit behind myself. Just watch out for that plastic backing in the rear. I get why they do that. It's to protect the seats. Like if you have kids in the back and they're like, kicking up against a seat, you're not going to damage the leather. So the only thing though is if you're putting adults back there, their shin is going to, kind of be touching up against that hard plastic and it's going to hurt a little bit. Just so you know, in case you're going to be using this as like a real estate vehicle. Yeah, so there you go. Yeah, trunk space is decent. It's not bad for what it is. You do have a spare tire back there, so you have that. You can also fold down the seat 60-40 and enjoy some more space that way. As a whole, I get why this is a best-selling vehicle for Audi. It's a nice little package. Sure, it costs a little bit more than the BMW counterpart like the X3, but you know, it doesn't matter. If you like Audi more than BMW, you're going to shell out the extra $4,000 or whatever, and you're just going to get this, so it's not a big deal for you. Know that this is a good vehicle, but, you know, honestly, consider the A4 as well. If you can test drive one and you can check out the trunk space and everything, I think that's a great vehicle as well. I'm sad to see sedans kind of going away. I mean, they're great driving vehicles, and they sit down a little bit lower, so you get that better handling dynamic to it. But, you know, if you have to have a higher seating position and you have to have an Audi, then the Q5 is not a bad choice. It's going to return amazing real-world fuel economy. You're going to be getting over 20 mpg in the city and over 30 mpg on the highway for sure. I like the efficiencies of these Audi power plants, and you have a pretty smooth transmission to go with it as well. So yeah, decent little vehicle. Hopefully you found value with this review. Thanks again for watching. Take care and goodbye.